What up, what up? This is Compas Unfiltered, and I'm your host, Checo.
It's your co-host, Noe. What up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We actually have a raffle going on right now. This is going to be the last podcast before we announce the winner, May 28th. We'll probably go live on Facebook and announce the winner, do the whole raffle thing. A lot of you guys are liking the videos or pictures, whatever, when we post about the raffle, man, but you guys are not sending in them screenshots. So whoever does send in those screenshots, you got to send a screenshot for that you're subscribed to the YouTube, you're following us on Instagram, and that you like the Facebook page. Once you do that, you're entered into the raffle free. It's una hora de la cristalera, paid by Noe. Always, bro, you know?
Always. Hey, some of my cousins from out of state screenshot and sent it in. Hey, man, if y'all get it, if y'all win, hey, party at my house, man. Cristalera at the crib.
We could do that. Hey, I could do that.
Yay.
All right, man. So today we have a special guest. It's part of our podcast family, como dicen las muchachas. Y me da gusto tenerla aquí. We're going to be chopping it up and finding out more about her. And definitely you got to subscribe to her. You know, you got to follow her as well. So welcome, Paola. From Foreal.
Hi.
Thank you for
having me.
Thank you for coming to Compas Unfiltered.
We really appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
No, thanks. We've already had a nice little conversation. Thanks,
yeah,
guys.
we kind of started early, pero ahorita we gotta get going with the podcast.
That's my curse.
So for our listeners, because like I said, I really want them to subscribe to you, to listen to you, to follow you. I think you're on all audio platforms, so like Spotify, Apple Podcast. It's called Foreal. It's you and Sarah, correct?
Yes.
That's her name. So more about your podcast. How did you guys start? Whose idea was it? I think you guys started a couple years ago, right? Yeah, you guys beat everybody else to the game.
So I've been on this. It's been about 3 years now, but it's really kicked off. I don't know. Right after January, I decided to there was like a new life put into it. Before that, I listened to podcasts avidly. I love podcasts. I listened to like crime, true crime. A few years ago, it really hit an all-time high. There was like a bunch of podcasts, My Favorite Murder. There was just a bunch of them that were just investigating everything, and especially things from the 90s. Even right now, they're huge.
Which one's your favorite?
Podcast?
Yeah.
My favorite murder was really good. There was another one called Sword and Scale, just because I'm a research person, and they really go deep into court files, and if there was audio, they would play it. Just factual but entertaining. So you got the actual stuff, and a lot of the stuff that we would hear when we were kids, like a lot of do you remember like Homie the Clown?
Yep.
And you know that just got like bigger than life, and it just brings it back to the origin. Who was Homie the Clown? Where did that start? Especially for kids in the hood. Like, what did that mean to us? And how did they spin it? And what was the actual story? So,
I was listening to a lot of crime ones too. I'm trying to remember the title of one of my favorite ones, and I can't. I remember the guy that we're investigating. But I remember. We'll talk about it afterwards. Probably I'll remember then.
So I'll look it up.
But yeah, the crime ones. I don't know if you even listen to.
No. That's what I was gonna say. I know you kind of were really into those. Compa Noe would recommend those, but I was just kind of like nah. But then that's when I actually got into more like the more mainstream. That's where it hooked me into the whole podcast.
Ones? Joe Rogan. I like his too. He is such a smart, like extremely intelligent person that the stuff that he brings out is just like it makes you sit and think. Like
yeah. But there's a different element to the ones that like the crime ones or like the This American. I don't know if you ever heard This American Life. Like those are to me one of my favorite podcasts because it was always a message, a very good story. Like the writers that were on there probably were great, you know. And then the crime ones were also también, como dices tú, they come with the facts and you're like, dude, did this guy really kill this girl or what happened? You know, like or you're like trying to figure it out along the way. I don't know, como una novela, compa, pero in your ears.
But it's like real life. My husband would be like, because I would listen to these all the time, like when I worked out, when I was cleaning, more than music even. My husband would pass by, he's like, esta pinche loca, like, dude. And he would tell her daughter, like, look at what mom's listening to. Something happened.
Se llamaba, the one that I liked a lot, that really like turned me on to the crime one was se llamaba Serial.
Yes. Well, that's one of the ones that started it all.
Dude, it was wild.
Was Serial.
With Adam Saeed or some I forgot his name.
Adnan Syed.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that one was wild, bro. You got it, and her voice too was amazing. Shout out to her. She's probably listening to us now, bro.
No, she's not.
hey, dream. What did we talk about?
I think her name is Sarah.
You gotta dream big.
I think her name was Sarah, right?
Yes. And then so I mean, and it took her so long, and everybody wanted another case like that. The amount of time that it took her to research that case in order to produce it and put it on air, it was forever. So by the time season 2 came on, people were kind of, we want things quick. We lose steam.
That other one wasn't as good.
The military one?
Yeah, I didn't like it as much, but you got to listen to Serial, bro.
Yeah.
If you've not listened to it, you got to. Like, you have to, bro. And you won't stop. Trust me, bro. Her voice was amazing. And the story behind it was great.
I mean, I might check it out, but you mentioned it's kind of like novelas and
but real life shit.
Novela in the way that it gets your attention. It really tells you a story. And I think that's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
More so,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
not like Chisme because it is real
No, this
life.
is real. The other one that I listened to was the Atlanta murder, where they would kill a bunch of kids living in the hood.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot the name of that show, of the podcast, pero that one was also interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there's many.
There's tons. I mean, we can keep going. Yeah, we can. I want to link up afterwards so you can tell me more about what the one.
I'll tell you.
So I can listen.
Some good ones. Yeah. But like yesterday with your episode that the one that just released this week with your cousin.
Oh yeah.
There's this one podcast. It's called Ear Hustle. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have.
Man, when that one came out,
good stuff.
It talks to you about from the perspective of the guys that are locked up and what they go through, and it's not so much to get pity for them; they're just telling you their stories.
Right.
I mean, because empathy isn't a bad thing.
I actually was listening to Ear Hustle, and then I found the Atlanta one, and I switched over to that Atlanta one, and I didn't stop, and I just kept listening. So I never went back to Ear Hustle because of the Atlanta murders.
From the beginning, though.
Right.
It's changed, though, ever since the one guy, Erlan Wood. Yeah, he did great, and he's out now. But it just changed because his perspective is different now. He's talking to you, as a free man versus they had a radio show inside. Was it Fulton? I can't remember. It was in Los Angeles, exactly, I think. I'm probably getting all my prisons incorrectly.
Yeah, you're gonna get that.
They had one inside prison. They had
yes.
El vato he was in jail.
Yes.
The guy that was doing it.
So the girl, I can't remember her name. Nija. Her name was Nija. So she would come into the prison every week and record. And so there was a...
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
That's good, bro.
And they had to pre-approve it. Like the warden had to pre-approve it. Like they listened to it. And so they would there was like one guy, Erlan, that was her co-host, but then he would go and they would interview guys and do different stories, like from what got them there to how do you spend your time to what is a kite and how do you actually pass it, or talking about food and contraband and how do you guys
they talked about everything that happens in prison, like detail, and they were inside, dude.
Mm-hmm. It's good. There
are a bunch of good ones, man. A lot of good shows.
So this is that's what got me here to answer your question. Long story short, I love it. I loved it. I love the audio production, just learning something new, and I was like, I want to try that.
So going back to your podcast, now that you have our audience and they're listening to you now, what is your podcast about? What do you guys try to cover? What's your message that you deliver? Or de qué chisme, de qué platican?
De todo.
At first, it was a mix of everything. So we would take current events and spin it to how it was fitting into our lives. So when we first started, it was the whole R. Kelly trial. So I was kind of covering it, and it was because it was big during when we were kids. That was all anyone would talk about. Like, is he?
Did you see the video?
Happen? No.
The Netflix.
Wait.
Documentary. That's what you're talking about.
No, I was talking about the video.
No, okay, never mind.
Like the multiple videos. No.
I never got to see it either. That's what I'm. But a lot of people have seen it. You know, I mean, people definitely seen it. They're like, yeah, that's R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, I never saw it.
Well,
they're saying that it was his brother.
The thing was that once that video leaked, and for these things to leak back in the 90s, we're talking VHS.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody took it out of the house. I mean, this place was locked down like a fortress. And they would pirate copies. And they were like selling them in Chicago on the corner. And that's how that video got out.
That's the reason why I asked you, because you said you were covering the whole, you know what I mean? Like, you weren't just covering the case now. You were covering since the beginning, right? Like, you wanted to know.
Oh, no. I would research like the earlier stuff because when you're younger, you hear all these rumors. But no, I'll do research, and there's an extent. That extent, I will not. That's just
I forgot. I was in high school when that happened. When that started like becoming popular, And at the time, bro, I don't even think we had like a computer like that to be like, get the clip or I don't know how that.
It was straight up a VHS.
Everybody was talking about it. It was like, did you see R. Kelly? I think digital was out already. It just wasn't like.
Mainstream, not everybody had it.
No, I had a Kyocera phone, like a Nokia. Like that didn't do any digital stuff.
No, it was legit.
But if you were on a computer, you might have been able to get it, or download it or something.
I don't know that we were that advanced back. What is the 90s?
Net Zero, LimeWire, all that. Like, music was out.
How long did it? Yes, but how long did it take to rip a song? Yeah, like I don't
even think I had the knowledge to like know how to do, download a video back then. But I'm just saying, like, I'm sure that's how people were getting it too.
At some point, yeah. I mean, it got out there, but it was like this secret that everybody knew. No one really did anything about it until it hit the fan a few years ago, and so that's why I was covering. Like, what is it that actually started taking him down? What's happening with these girls? And so we would cover it, and then so it was just current events, and then mixing it into like what was happening in our lives and how it related to what was happening.
I think what took him down eventually was the fact that he continued doing the same things, right?
Yeah, but one of the girls, so at some point, one of the younger girls' parents started making a stink, going to the media, and then it started picking up more steam. And in an area where, in a time where news was kind of slow at the time, it picked it up. And this is, mind you, right after the Bill Cosby situation. So things were just starting to pick up. And then we're talking about the Me Too movement and all of that stuff. And it was Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly. There were several people that they were being. It was domino effect, and at this point, they just couldn't ignore it.
Yeah,
they had to do something, and so that's one of the things. Yeah, that took him down because everybody. It was, apparently, is one of those things that it wasn't a secret. It was widely known, but no one was doing anything about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys were covering stuff like that, and then putting your own twist on it.
Yeah.
How did you guys come up with the title for the show?
It was something like, I'm sure you guys know, you've heard it when we were younger. So Sarah and I went to grammar school together. And she's a year older than I am, but we were put in this, it was like, we were like these guinea pig kids where they put like 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in one class together. So we were in this advanced class. So we had this mix of kids. And so can you like imagine like being a 6th grader, being surrounded by like 7th and 8th graders, and you start to adopt each other's language and you start to hear that. And I was the oldest one in my family. So you start to just listen to things. And one of the things that we would always say is like, nah, for real, for real, for real, for real. So
that's how you came up with the title.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was something that we would always say. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And you guys both sat down and like, hey, this is what it should be?
We went down through a list of a bunch of names. And I actually had a name before because I had been trying to start for a while and trying to find the right person to do it with. And so I already had a name and a concept. And so when we got together, we're like, no, it should be something new because it's a new dynamic.
What was that name?
Dude, what if I want to use it?
Well, register.
This is copyrighted, all right? Yeah. I think it was Chismos.
You're right. This is copyrighted.
Chismos.
This is
not coming from me.
We're gonna take it, bro. Nah, just play. ¿Cómo se llamaba?
Chismos. Like chismosa, but like in English, like an what is it? A Spanglish twist? Chismos. Because me and my sister, we say that a lot. Like, man, you're such a chismosa, like chismos. Hey. So, I mean, it worked.
You still might use it, yeah. Hey, and you still might use it. You never know, right?
Listen, we're trying to become a whole entertainment business here, right? So we got plans.
That's good. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, so that's how you guys pick your topics because of what's going on in today and how it affects you guys.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever actually struggle? Because, I mean, sometimes it's kind of there's nothing really going on. So, like, how else do you guys pick your topics? I mean, is there just... You guys have like a bucket list and just
I do keep a running list, and sometimes it becomes stale, like, oh, this isn't relevant anymore. So I do keep a running list, and then we'll go through like, hey, like, I have X, Y, and Z. But if something really popped off that week, like we just did one on divorce. I'm not divorced. Like, why would I want to be talking about divorce? She's been divorced. But it was a big thing because, Kim Kardashian is actually not even divorced. She's about to get a divorce. However, she's like the most eligible bachelorette in the world. So it's like people are already saying like, oh, they're sending in applications. Like, how do multi-millionaire, billionaire people date? Like, how do they get to know other people? And, how soon is it too soon to start dating? And so that's how it kind of just rolls.
Damn.
About that, didn't somebody put up like a billboard?
Yes.
That's costing like thousands of dollars a month or a day or something crazy like that. That's the only thing I know about.
But I think at that point, it's just everybody's trying to get clout nowadays.
I think he's a consultant, no?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Something. So he's some sort of mogul.
Yeah.
But I think that they do it to a point because it involves Kim Kardashian and it was such a big showing of something, he's going to get talked about. So whether he actually had intentions or not, he got the job done. We're talking about him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You think she really is getting a divorce?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
This has been a long time coming. However they got together, I think they were hanging on by a thread. There was a lot going on, I think, on both ends. And then it's been said that they like to have like a certain amount of kids that they want to have with the same dad. And then at some point, once it's not working, then it's like, all right, hit the road, Jack.
We're talking about the Kardashians?
The Kardashians, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like, if you notice, well, the ones that have a couple kids, multiple kids, it's with the same father. And then at some point, if it's not working out, all right, peace out, gotta go. But I got my kids, so we're good, right?
Damn.
I mean,
you like TMZ, allegedly. Don't you?
I don't even watch TMZ, but this head is full of secrets. Listen, if I took you back to the 90s and what's stored up here on Mexican chisme, be surprised.
Okay, since you said that, how far? Like Paco Stanley type? Like that far? Or you don't even know who that is?
No, I actually don't know who that is.
All right, so now you don't go that far. 90s.
I mean,
this is going to be 90s. But okay, so just real quick before we move on, because to me it's interesting for sure. Chisme, like what type of chisme? What would be a hot chisme that like, let's say late 90s?
Hey, listen, here we're talking,
anything.
We're like, do you know the story with Thalia? And before she married Tommy Mottola?
Is that the rich guy?
Dating? Yeah, Tommy Mottola, ex-husband to Mariah Carey.
Who was she dating?
She was dating this huge actor in Mexico, but because he didn't have the name and like what an American celebrity would have, they were a big deal. Like the Sodis were a big deal in Mexico, and there was no way she was in love with this guy.
¿Cómo se llamaba el actor?
I can't remember right now, but
was he like in a novela or no?
Oh yeah, he was like when you had that one dude before he got too old that was in all of the novelas.
Yeah,
that was the guy.
Him.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta look him up. I'm sure I know who he is.
So she was dating him, and mom's like, no way. Like, have your fling, you're fine, but you're not going to marry him. And she left him. He was brokenhearted, and then she found Tommy Mottola. And so then she was on the U.S. side. The sister got kidnapped. Do you remember? So she has a bunch of sisters. One of them is a big actress in the novela scene, and then the other one is more in de teatro. So la secuestraron. A las hermanas.
Oh, both of them?
I think so. Se me hace que a las dos. And then, obviously now she's married to Tommy Mottola, or they're dating. And they're like, nope, like we don't negotiate with terrorists. We're not going to do it. Like, I think they're like, oh, we're going to chop off a finger and send it your way. And I don't know if they actually did for one of the other hostages. But it was a whole big thing. Oh, yeah. And the sister is like the one that was in Marimar. She was one of the ones, like short, red hair. She was like always the evil sister. Or the evil madrastra or whatever in the novelas. Oh my God, I'm telling you.
And she's good, right? They're good, right? They're safe?
No. Oh yeah, they ended up getting out.
Oh, okay, cool.
They ended up getting out and found, so it was like, well, was this a hoax to like get publicity? Was it like to get money? What? Yeah, so that was like a rumor mill. So no, they're not cool at all. I think it's Thalia and her mom and maybe one of the sisters that was neutral in between. But yeah, no, that's never been.
Damn. I feel like once you reach a certain level of money, bro, like problems come, or like you're dealing with like different level problems, bro.
Yeah, no.
Like that. Like that's why I'm okay where I'm at, though.
But you think stuff like that could be like set up though? Like just cause like I guess for clout, they're irrelevant. They want to become relevant. I don't know if you remember, bro, back in the day, I don't know how long ago it was. The dude from Marco Flores from Jerez.
Yeah. Marco Flores de la banda Jerez. Please tell me you know who that is.
Huh? No. Sorry.
Yeah, he's just a singer de una banda. Okay. Pretty popular band. I would say, top 5.
Especially if you're from Zacatecas. Yeah. You're failing right now, bro.
So bad.
Are you from Zacatecas?
Listen, yes. I have a story. I was born, all right?
Oh, that is a fail. You're losing points. I think you lost like 6 followers right now.
Oh, listen,
As
sir.
we speak.
Listen, sir. Questioning my Mexicanness. What'd you say the first time?
Are you for the culture?
Yeah, dude. I was so butthurt, and I came home and I told my husband, I was like, dude.
He asked me that.
I was like, but you know what? He was direct. He wasn't talking behind my back. He said it to my face.
I wanted to know. I
appreciate it. But it was like, I think I turned him. I think I got it. He figured me out a little bit later.
Well, you answered. You were like, yeah, like this is what I like. This, and this is where I was born, and this is where I came from, and like you were literally, you grew up in that area too. So to me, I was like, oh, okay, cool. But honestly, I don't know. And based on the podcast, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, no, and it's different. And I mean, once you get to know a little bit more about my life story, it has a lot to do with it. The way that I am and how close I am to my roots, and I hold certain things very dear, and other things I could do without. And so,
I feel like that's the way you grow.
Yeah, and it it is what it is, and we'll get into it. But yeah,
I won't forgive you for not knowing who La Banda Jerez is.
Listen,
she's gonna be on the way home, dude, like searching it, Spotify.
I will, and that's how you learn, right? And you gotta give it to people.
Oh, for sure.
You learn, and I could just.
Do you like banda though, or no?
I do. Oh my gosh, that was like. I wasn't allowed to go to bailes, but when I was able to do something like in family parties, that's all I did. I love like norteñas and bandas, some corridos. It was barely when corridos, like all that stuff was starting to get like kind of on the heavy side. When I stopped kind of getting into the music was when banda started dropping off, and then you started having like duranguense, and it took over Chicago.
You're like, I'm good.
Well, I mean, again, I wasn't really going out to the bailes or doing anything because I was just not really allowed. But it was just not my thing. I love like Banda Azteca with Carlos and like, Guac Pod and all of those guys. I love listening to them. And that was like the kind of music that I really, really liked. But if you're not out there experiencing certain things, as soon as the culture and the wave starts to change, if you're not part of it, sometimes it, and you start going into a different direction, which I did. I was in school, different demographic of people. You start listening to other things, and it just,
What is your favorite type of music?
I love hip hop. I mean, like old school hip hop.
90s or like even more old?
Even like I'll do some like 80s, but like rap music too. Like still like, DMX, and just like good music, and I'll still listen to that stuff.
So on your way here, what were you listening to on the way here?
I was actually listening to some banda only because I was listening to...
because she was coming to Compas Unfiltered.
She got to get ready.
That's right. I knew I was going to be quizzed. No, I was listening to some like top 100 like Latin hits, and it started circling in at some point. So
banda came in?
Some banda came in, yeah.
Nice.
Well, good thing you talked around a little bit about like the city, because that's where you grew up, right? You grew up in Chicago.
Back of the heart.
Born in Chicago?
No, I was born in Mexico. Jalpa, Zacatecas, yeah.
Jalpa. Y arriba Jalpa, Zacatecas.
Yes.
So born in Zacatecas, then you came to Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where you grew up. Mm-hmm. How old were you when you came to Chicago?
I think we were in Texas for a while. So we bounced around. My dad worked construction. So I've lived in Texas and San Antonio. I've lived in different parts of California to Chicago. So we were kind of just traveling. We would do San Antonio, California, Chicago, Mexico. And then until one point, my mom's like, all right, ya cálmate, because these kids are old enough to be in school. I would be in school for a while in all of the places. And I was the only one. I was always very like talkative and open. I was like, yeah, I'll stay. And so I would be in school in California, San Antonio, wherever we would go. I would be in school. I would be in school in Mexico. And so I've just been up until maybe, first grade. First grade, that's what I think was like steady that we were here.
And in Chicago. Whenever you guys would go back to Mexico, Jalpa, a Zacatecas?
A Zacatecas, mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
When was the last time you were there?
2000.
Okay, dang, 20 years ago.
It's a long time, yeah. And I stopped going. We used to go every December because that's when the ferias happen in Jalpa. Mm-hmm. And it's huge for like 2 months. Like parties and bailes.
Jalpa's a popular place,
All kinds of things. And so we would always go. And that was before like truancy was a thing. And you took out the kids from school and you went for like a month and a half. And that's how it was. And it was so fun. But as you're getting older, missing school... it matters,
deal,
in high school. And then they hit you with the law changed, and you couldn't miss more than 10 days. Was it not a semester?
That's probably within the year, no?
Because then it was 20. It was 20 days total for the year, so I guess half the year. Couldn't miss more than 10.
You guys really went for the whole month. She knows the details and shit.
Yeah.
She's like, nah, did it for the year, it was 20.
And honestly, it was targeting all of like us.
The Latinos?
Because they knew once December comes, these kids leave. Some of them make it back, some of them don't. And now being an adult, I understand why. Because they're trying to keep track and making sure that these kids are safe. Where are you? Are they getting their education? Like, what's happening?
It matters, yeah.
Yeah, we've lost, just through COVID, we've lost so many kids because you could be remote anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I mean, as we know, like so many bad things happen to kids when no one's there watching out for them. So all of that changed. And so we stopped going. And then once you're in college, okay, parents go, we don't go because we can't miss school either. And so it started slowing down. And then you start building a life and it's just not practical to go and shit happens.
And you don't want to go anymore?
The memory of it, I love it, and I would love to take my daughter there.
Tienes que ver los terrenos allá.
¿Qué terrenos? I wish. No, but I know people tell me that it's safe, but that always creeps in the back of my head, and it's scary. Like, I don't know. One day I would love to take her.
It's nice out there. I love it.
So it's just with all of these things happening, it's just scary. Like sometimes you're even scary. It's scary, like making sure that you're going to go within a 10-block radius and make it back home okay with all of these crazy things happening. And it's just, I don't know. I'm scared of a lot of things.
No, I get you.
One day.
Yeah. I hear that. But real quick, we're going to do a quick little sponsor video, and then we'll be right back.
Lumbre Mix. Shout out to our sponsor, Lumbre Mix, some of the best michelada mix around.
They also have chamoy for all your beverage rim needs in 3 flavors: original, mango, and watermelon. Put that thing on everything.
Also, for all the candy lovers, they have watermelon gummies and peach rings. It's a mix of gummy candy with chamoy. Just fire.
Now follow all of their social media to see what store is near you.
Y que no se apague la lumbre.
We're back. Shout out to our sponsor, Lumbre Mix.
Lumbre Mix.
So we got to know a little bit.
Real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Congratulate to our sponsor real quick, man. He just announced something on Facebook. Amazing, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He is officially living the dream, bro. Entrepreneurship and just running his own business. Congratulations, man.
Congrats, carnal.
For real, bro. Lumbre Mix.
Oh, yeah.
Big shout out, bro. Compas Unfiltered, man. Living the dream, bro.
That's what's up, bro. I seen that shit and I was like, that's dope as fuck.
Dope as hell, bro.
Dope as fuck.
Dope.
Okay. So we got to learn a little bit about Paola and a little bit of your upbringing and back of the yards and how you started your podcast. So now we're gonna go into our topic that we had laid out for today. She had her own episode for this, so like I said, I highly recommend going to. You can check out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anchor, wherever you listen to podcasts. She's there. No YouTube yet.
No YouTube yet. You guys pull in some work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
I give it up to you. If you can do both. I can't yet.
Yeah, but maybe
I'm looking at her all confused, like, yeah, we put in the work, but it's not me. It's not me, but it's my boy, Checo.
But I said, definitely recommend For Real. Check it out. So we're going to be talking about, is blood thicker than water?
Is it?
Is it? I don't know. So I wasn't to have these like scenarios and whatnot, but I think we're all just gonna kind of go back into our own experiences and maybe we can relate to these scenarios because something else happened to us, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna kick it off. I'm gonna kick it off.
All right.
I don't know if you guys.
Acá a Paula le gusta el chisme acá. Chismos. Chismos in the building.
I can talk forever.
So we're gonna start with stuff that's minor, because I mean, with us Latinos, it's kind of like tienes que invitar a tu tía, tu tío, tus primos, lo que sea, even though you don't get along with them, even though, and I don't know if now that I'm older, I don't know if I agree with that, back then it was kind of like, wow, I don't want to, or, whatever, but it was like, you have to, but it's family. But the thing is, we don't always tell our mom, our dad, stuff that we probably experienced as kids that nobody else knows. Yeah, you're getting.
I thought you were trying to start light.
that kind of did go heavy, bro. I'm like, wait.
No, I mean,
took a turn.
No. Okay, you can take it as far as you want, right?
Hey,
Shit happens. Shit happens. But I'm saying, like, damn, I don't even know if I'm using this example, man. People are gonna be like, "What the fuck, Checo?" Okay.
What the hell? Hold on, let me switch.
Yeah, get a little more specific here.
What did you do, bro?
Okay. Man, fuck.
Just go for it.
Cut this shit out.
Suelte la sopa. La gente ahorita que está escuchando, like driving, bro, like gripping onto the steering wheel right now, bro.
Now I'm getting nervous. Now the anxiety's kicking in. Okay. I'm taking myself out of the situation. Let's just do another example. But
Nah. Go for it, bro.
All right, cool. Not gonna name names. Not gonna, whatever, because family and shit, But let's say a family member tells you something about your parent. And I don't want to go too specifically because then I know everybody watches. My family does watch. Like some of them. The rest of them, culos. Pero the ones that do,
that was harsher than the story, bro.
I want to know now.
No. But someone said something about my parent. I don't want to say mother or father, but they said something. They made a comment.
Okay.
So I look at that person in a different light now. Mm-hmm. You get what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they made a bad comment. Like bad because I take it as bad. I take it as offensive.
But are you looking at that person that said it different, or are you looking at your parent different?
No, that person.
Okay.
That person, So at that point, it's like now that you're older, now you look at that person, you're like, man, fuck you, bro. Mm-hmm. Like I don't, I really don't want to invite you to the carne asada now,
And you don't.
I don't.
No, I'm saying you don't.
No, yeah, I don't. But it's like that's where and little stuff like I don't want to say it's little stuff like that, but it's just I hold grudges, so I am different than I guess most people or maybe a lot of people or I don't know.
So
I do hold grudges though.
I've seen it.
Don't cross Checo.
No,
on the list.
No,
I've seen it firsthand.
Yes.
Like I'm like, oh, this is uncomfortable.
Okay.
But it's like so to somebody else it might seem like it's not a big deal. But when you're 8 years old, 9, when it happened to me, that shit stuck.
Yeah.
So I do look at that person in a different light. I don't, I respect them as much as far, not even respect, but it's just like I have that. I don't know. Help me out with these words, man.
Maybe the respect is for the family, not for that person.
More so for the family. So it's like I will say hi and bye.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna take any further than that. And like I said, they're not invited to the carne asada.
Yeah.
All right, can I ask this question, brother?
Maybe.
So, have you ever just brought that up? Because maybe that may clear things up. And just be like, yo, like, I remember as a kid you said this. Like, what do you really feel? Just to be like, or...
No, I haven't. Okay. No, I haven't, bro. But you know me. And
that's the Dr. Phil in me, bro. Like, hey, what up? Like, let me help you.
No, I haven't. Well, it's because I think No, I haven't, bro. Just because I think with us Latinos, especially like my family, I don't really think we talk too much. We don't talk problems out.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's
I know what you mean.
It's gonna be physical.
Yeah, of course, and I have a little bit of a temper sometimes. I know. So
I work for you, bro. He calls me partner, pero cuando se le ofrece, like, hey, dude, like, nah.
Not at all.
I'm just talking shit.
But so I wouldn't want that. Just because it happened X amount of years ago.
Okay.
So it's like I don't want that problem. But it's like I said, they're just not invited to the carne asada.
Yeah.
And you think they know?
If they don't know, they should.
Some people are honestly so oblivious and living in their own world and so about themselves that I guarantee you they probably don't know.
Yo, and sometimes I feel like back then, or like the older generation, bro, spoke in a different light too.
They're different.
Like they were just built different. They just say wild stuff, and you're like, okay, like, well, now we wouldn't say things like that, to hurt somebody else. And you know what? I'm cut from that cloth too, I feel, because my family would always tell me, like, dude, like, you're so, like, upfront with shit, like, that it hurts people, not offends people. It hurts people's feelings. Like, my wife was one of the ones that would tell me, like, yo, dude, like, you can't just be talking like that. And then I always try to work on that now. but I feel like I was always like
more direct.
Yeah, more direct. But I always feel like that's the way to keep shit clean. You know, like you speak up, you speak your mind, and then that avoids problems. You know, and it may create some separation sometimes, but
it's not always bad.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But I try to watch more of what I say because my intention is not to hurt anybody's feelings, you know? So it was just more like keeping it real, keeping it clean. Like, hey, amistades largas, you know? Cuentas claras, amistades largas type, you know? Even though if we're family, to me, it was more like, yo, like, but if we clear it up now, like, we're good. You know what I mean? But if something's wrong, then it's going to come up.
Yeah. I think sometimes just being direct.
What? Sorry.
Yeah,
Technical difficulties. We'll be right back. We're back. I don't know what I don't know where we left off. Sorry, but we're back.
We were talking about your deep situation, which ended up.
No, we were done with that.
Were we?
Yeah. No se invita a la carne asada. Y si lo es, se saluda muy a huevo.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
But I think that's cool. Like you get to a point when you're an adult that, goddamn it, it's your decision. And if you want to have people around your family, good. And if you don't, then don't. And I'm all about that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I want to say there's so many different scenarios, so many different, but it just depends on how severe, you know? And to me, it doesn't take much. That's just me personally, though, you know? Cada quien. I mean, I know a family that, like, they've done each other bogus as fuck. Yeah. And then they're like, it's family. And to me, I'd be like, fuck that. That's not going to happen. Not for me. Compa, no,
I feel like I'm with you on that, bro.
Well, no, I'm saying, you're always positive, bro. So you're always like...
You know what, bro? When it comes to immediate family, my immediate family is really, really, really close. And we were talking about that on a break when my mom just steering us in the right path and shit. So mad credit to my moms and shit on that. But yeah, dude, like my siblings are super close. We try to support each other. I feel like we are where we are because of that support, compa. Just based on where we came from, you know, like I feel like the fact that my mom kept us so united, it helped us grow. You know what I mean? And en todas las formas. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, yeah, I hold them dearly, family. And when it comes to like cousins, yeah, bro, I'm real positive and shit. So it's like I always try to keep it, you know. Keep it peaceful, keep it all love, you know what I mean? And if it gets deep, then it's something that, you know, but would cross that bridge when we get there.
It's situational though.
Yeah.
Depends on like what if something has happened, which probably it sounds like maybe not, and that's great. And I see those families and they're like the aspirational families, even though, I mean, everybody has their issues, right? But you have like those close-knit siblings, and even if you have some cousins that you're close to, that's wonderful. But not everybody gets that, and there's certain situations, and I think like that's what I was talking about and on our podcast where it's okay. And then you just kind of sever it and that's it. And it's not about talking bad about people and it's not about putting them down. For me, it was a clean break and moving on because sometimes you just don't need all of that in your life.
Oh, you definitely don't. What were you going to ask, brother?
No, yeah. I mean, like I said, you've never had any kind of experience, bro, like anything where you're like, I can't fuck with you no more. I mean, obviously you can't say names, right? But you know.
But I'm trying to think of something or somebody that I cut out. I mean, I feel like I am like you in a way, bro, where somebody rubs me the wrong way, bro, or like I'm like, I'm good, you know, like pero no,
are they still invited
like
to
family?
the carne asada?
No, they're not invited to the carne asada because we don't, you know. Pero I'm not a problematic person, bro. Problematic person to the point of like pushing the envelope, but like, you know, was good. Like, nah, I'm not on that. I'm more on that pushing the positive side of like, hey man, if I don't mess with you, I don't mess with you. We just don't need you in my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or I don't need that in my life. I'm good. I'm gonna pass on it. You know, I'm good. We're not going to somebody's carne asada too, bro. You feel me? Like,
but I think it has to do because you're direct. So people know where they can toe the line with you. Right. So if people know they can't mess with you, you're not going to get those problems at your door because the people that do that know who they can mess with and know who they can't. So you'll notice, like, you know, cousins, if you think back, like, man, that person was always happy, or like they kind of just like, you know, nothing ever really bothered them. But a lot of the times, they're the people that set a very, very direct line, like, this is what I will allow and this is what I will not. With a lot of us, I think, but for me, I know that I have a problem with setting those boundaries because I don't want to hurt family's feelings, especially when it comes to strangers, it's different. But when it's family, like you're talking brothers, sisters, cousins, like what you know, I don't want to hurt feelings, and so you kind of just let it slide by and you laugh it off, you know, when they're making fun of you or just saying things and you just go, yeah, it's fine, and you kind of just laugh it off, and because you don't want to start problems, but then they know they can mess with you and things get bigger and bigger, and that's when problems start.
Right. Like Checo will tell you, I'm the shit talker in general, con los compas or with my family too, cousins, anywhere. I'm the shit talker most of the time. But I feel like my cousins also feel like, hey, they know 100% that I want nothing but the best for all of us. You know what I mean? Like cousins, family, uncles, everybody. So to me, it's like, all I want is peace in our family, harmony and shit, you know, and for everybody to do great.
That's so
nice. I feel like they know that too. As much as they know, like, no, he's coming, like, he's going to be talking mad shit, you know, pero puro cotorreo, you know, not in a malicious way. Yeah, but I'm definitely that guy, you know, but sorry, cousins.
But for what, though? I mean, you're saying that, no, I think but the thing is, you're being very direct and you're putting out exactly who you are. You're not showing people one thing and then doing another. And then that's when, you know, even if you're not necessarily talking crap, but like if you're just taking it, and then you go back and you're like, man, they're right. That gives people some sort of impression, because I know I can be like that. Like I'll just take it, and I'll go tell my husband and be like, all right, well, do something about it. And that's, I think, like
the action.
That makes a difference.
Yeah. So one thing I was going to bring up too, it's like I at least myself, I do have and you kind of mentioned it, I have a higher tolerance for like immediate family. You know what I mean? And it's like more so like, you're making fun, you're picking fun or whatever. That kind of just runs right off, you know?
Yeah.
But like to other considered family, because like they married in and stuff like that, little to none. I mean, I don't need much, you know, to be like, you're off, bro. Like that's it. Like, it is what it is.
I've been witness to this too.
It's not gonna take much.
So specifically, you know? like the bonus people, like they mess up and you're like, all right,
that's
you're
it, right?
Cut off.
Yeah. You're not even in our circle, bro. We let you in, but now you're out.
Dude, how are we still friends, bro? Straight up. I feel like my mom and my wife always ask you, like, how the hell do you tolerate this guy? Don't they? I feel like
your wife tells us all the time,
right?
Bro.
Like, ¿cómo lo aguantas? I'm like, yeah, that's true, bro.
Man.
It's like como dice el compa, no, it's all love though. And the thing is, like, as much as he talks shit, like I talk shit back to him. You know, I don't do it much on the podcast. Me detengo un poco.
A lot, bro. A lot.
But you know, it's all love though. You know, but it's different though when it's like, you know, when someone's being serious and when someone's you know, whatever, when they're just joking around.
But you also have to be able to take it.
Oh,
if you can dish it, and that's when like people get.
They can,
Que
no aguantan.
Yeah, you have to have a little bit of thick skin and just like like if I'm gonna give it to you, I better be able to take it, because it's gonna come from somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So getting back, go ahead, brother.
No, I'll say So that's just us talking shit. But I mean, I feel like there's obviously other situations, other stuff that happens within the family, and like I said, it could be something so small where like your tia's talking shit. You know, and it's kind of one of those like, that's all you can do, kind of you know, like kind of grin and just kind of like, bitch.
He said it.
But you know, and but the thing is, it's like they're constantly doing that though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So you can't cut them off, you know, or you can't, because I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
With like everybody has different tolerance, right?
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
Like, what about for you guys? Like, let's say you do have that uncle, that aunt, that kind of always kind of pushes the envelope a little bit. Do you still fuck it? It's blood? Or, and you can't talk, because we grew up, you can't talk back to your elders. You can't talk back to your tias, your tios.
I feel like that got thrown out the window with me, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't follow that. I followed it to a certain extent, bro. But after that, like, I was like, that ain't flying with me.
Yeah.
Like, people got me upset, or like, I would talk back, bro. Like, and then what? You know, like, what's gonna happen, bro? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna whoop me.
But it's just, that's how you grew up. Like, you do have that little bit of, I don't know if I would call it fear, but maybe you have that something in you that you're taught, like you don't talk back. You don't talk back, you know? Yeah. Like some of us even got hit by our aunts and uncles and it was okay.
Yeah, I definitely got a little bit of that, but it was still like, if I was upset, like I would say something back. Yeah. You know, I was like, I had to get off my chest type.
It's
hard.
What
I mean? Like I would just fucking say something. Even if it was under your breath, like you made sure you said under your breath, but they heard like, and they're like, "Eh, cabrón," and I was like,
you
whatever.
just ran.
Like,
you heard, like, you heard while you're running. You heard.
Nah,
it's hard. I mean, listen, I've had an uncle on the day of my wedding tell me like, I invited your ex. I
heard it on the podcast. I heard it on your episode.
To my face on my wedding day. You know,
and did he show up?
Huh? No, but he called me.
What did he call for? Congratulating? Okay. That's something we don't want to talk about.
No, I mean, listen, I've put it out there as it's like it's not even worth it to rehash, but it's like who would even do that? And at this point, I've given so much leeway, and I've taken so much of the hit because I did feel guilty over the situation. Mm-hmm. But there's only so much you can take where like, okay, enough is enough. And that was one of the things. And I was like, it was just kind of mounting up to the point where I was like, all right, like severed limb, here you go. Thank you. I'm fine. I didn't say anything, but it was one of those things where had I said something, would have been justified. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I would have said something. I would have been like, yo, bro, why would you do something like that?
Again,
that makes no sense.
I was always like,
you wanted to be respectful.
Yes, I wanted.
I see what you're saying.
Even though I'm like literally getting shit on to my face, I wanted to be respectful. I didn't want to offend. I wanted to be the good niece, the good daughter. And it got to a point where I was like, I'm sick of playing that role. I would rather say goodbye. I will not disrespect anyone. I will just remove myself from the equation. And that's what I did. And sometimes like, you know, it's just not worth it. It's just literally not worth it. All of that constant poking and nagging, it can be little things, but it's like...
Do you feel like that was in malicious intent, though? Like the invitation to your ex to your wedding? Like, that's crazy.
I think...
That makes absolutely no sense. Like, who... and
well, it's a whole story.
En qué cabeza cabe, though? You know what I mean? Like...
I think they really liked him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you listen to the podcast, I was engaged previously. And the way things happened, it all... happened really quickly to where I was no longer with that person and I got married to my husband. And so it was a shock to everyone. But at the end of the day, it wasn't anyone's business but mine. And for them to have felt like betrayed. They were entitled, maybe, right? But to be entitled, because then I was like, as I'm growing older, would they do that to their own daughters? No, but they did it to me. Why was that okay? I didn't say anything. And it's just like, now raising your kids to have a voice and to say, no, don't go hug them. If they don't want to hug you, they don't want to hug you. I'm not going to force my kid to hug you. And you're going to poke fun of my kid. Yes, my kid will talk back. Oh, you're going to call them disrespectful? Oh, well. Like you said, what's going to happen?
Nothing happens, man. You just get it off your chest. You know what I mean? I feel like this healthier than keeping it.
Yes.
Real quick, any regrets of not saying anything back to your uncle?
You know what? I've never even thought of it. Because had I continued and had I not made the moves that I made, I'd be maybe miserable and that would make me regret things. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with the decision that I made and with how my life has been. And so I see that as an experience, and now it's being brought up more because I reconnected with one of my cousins, and I talked about this, which nobody had known, because again, it's like once I kind of delineate myself and take myself out, I didn't have a need to talk about my uncle and like drag his name through the mud or do this or do that, because I simply didn't care. And I think at the end, les dio más en la torre a ellos que a mí.
You're like, I'm ready to move on. I'm good.
And then it was like, oh, but why? What happened? And it was just like, it wasn't one thing that happened. It was literally a lifetime. And
like a constant thing.
Yes. Yeah. You know, like you said, they disrespect your mom. My mother was gravely disrespected. And it comes to a point where like, all right, I'm not taking this anymore. You come at me one more time, I'm going to pull up. And so I was like, you know what? We're done. We're gone. Highly disrespected. They treated my mom so bad after my mother raised a lot of these kids and took care of these kids and fed these kids. And at that point, we're like, nope.
I think you see that a lot in the Hispanic community where the mom gets mistreated by the dad side, you know, or las cuñadas or the whatever, you know what I mean?
It happens.
Like, I feel like you see that a lot in the Hispanic community. Do you agree?
No, to an extent. Yeah, but yeah, I agree.
To an extent. What do you mean? What, your dad was the one getting mistreated? This guy's crazy.
I mean, to him, right? The mom's the extra. She's the bonus. She's the one coming in. So it's different.
It's the same. It's the same for everybody because
depending on what side you're closer to.
That's true. I see what you're saying.
You're going to be the bonus.
Depends on what side you're closer to.
On one side or the other.
I agree.
Yeah. And so you're going to be looked at on either your mom's or your dad's side, like, ¿quiénes son más como los arrimados? Like, they're coming into our family.
And which side do you lean more towards? Like, are you really cool with your cousins on your mom's side and you're always hanging out with them? Or are you really cool with your, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to go that way too.
Oh, definitely. But like for me, obviously not my dad's side. Because that's the side it was like, peace out. But my mom's side, they all live in California. I have a couple cousins here, very close. Well, one cousin, very close. And then my family in California, super close. But I mean, obviously, as close as you can be, being across the country.
Yeah. And all your dad's family is here in Chicago?
For the most part, and some is in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But either way, they're not.
Not really. Now, actually, after the podcast, a lot of them reached out. And it's like, it was nice to hear that they had a lot of those similar experiences. But it's like a lot of those cousins that I saw as the strong ones, the ones that would talk back, never said anything, and they stayed in the family, and they're like, man, like, we either admire you for doing it or we didn't know you were going through all this. Like, we were going through all of this. I can't believe that this happened to you. It happened to me too. And it was like, because I literally have no filter now because I have no one to protect. And I think a lot of the times in our families, we don't say things because we want to protect people that are hurting other people in our family, which is ludicrous.
So, and going back to that point, so Checo gave an example. I mean, I failed to give a good example for you guys. But for you, like, what was your example growing up as a kid where you maybe were hurt, or did you want to talk about that stuff? Okay.
Listen, it's one of those things I think that especially in the last few years has been a lot of really prevalent is like molestation towards children. And it happens in many communities, and I could only speak to our community or from the perspective of a Mexican woman. I was hurt as a child. And it's one of those things where as you grow up, and we were talking about this earlier, how it's more important to protect the abuser than the children. To the point where it's like Voldemort, you can't even say the name. Why? Why should I be ashamed to say this person's name? Why are we protecting these people? But it's family.
Yeah.
Don't matter what he did. Like, we just had your podcast, right? The other day with your cousin. What happened to your cousin with a family member? Couldn't say the family member's name. Multiple reasons, right? But it's something so deep and ingrained in us that no matter how they screw you over, you won't say the name. Why? Mm-hmm. And that's what's infuriating. And when we're talking about blood being thicker than water, for who? Cuando les conviene. Then you pull that card. But what about for protecting the vulnerable people in our family? What about what's happening with blood and water at that point? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what when I started talking about this, that's what I meant when there's like levels to it, you know? Yeah. Like something like so small where it's like just Ann talking shit, or as far as, you know, what you just mentioned. And yeah, I agree 100%. I don't know why we do that, like as a Latino Mexican community, that it's like stuff like this does happen. And I've heard numerous stories from other people, friends, lo que sea, that's happened to them. And it's like, you know, I get upset.
They always say it's a family member, bro, that hurts
more than a stranger. Yeah. And then you have that person, you're going to fiestas, and they're right there.
They're right there.
You don't want to miss a goddamn party. So there you go with your kids. You don't think of the damage that's doing because you don't want to miss the party. And I get it. Like we were talking, like our parents worked so hard that sometimes that was their only break. Or it's not like they were going to go to a club or a baile. That was the only time that they had to get a break. But now as adults, right, having kids, you think about it, you're like, F the party. Why would you? That is like trauma. That does not go away.
No.
And the things that it does to some people, if we're lucky, we come out sort of sane. I think I'm sort of sane. But for some of us, not so lucky.
Yeah, definitely.
It's rough. And that's like the thing, like, you know, when we're talking about, it's family, familia. Okay. What does that mean?
Well, what does that mean if they're hurting you too?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
or if they're being protected, and you know everyone's protecting. It's not just one person, it's everyone, because everybody talks about it in hushed voices, and they make the victim feel ashamed of something they went through, when the other person should be feeling that way. But none of that goes that way.
Like in your case, were you able to speak out at that time?
I was threatened when it happened. And mind you, I was like maybe in fourth, fifth grade. I was threatened, and when you're little, you know, you're like, wait, if I say something, you know, my mom's gonna be hurt or whatever, and so you just let it happen. But then you're thinking you're letting it happen when at 10 years old you don't have a choice. It's nothing that you're doing. This is a literal adult. And we bring all these adults into our homes because, they're coming from Mexico. They need a place to stay. Dude, get a job. Figure it out.
How close of a relative was this?
This was a sibling to my father.
Holy moly.
Well, a step sibling. And then it's always one of those things where, why did anybody go to the police? But again, our community didn't do that. No. And then now as an adult, you think, you know, just like, be careful with what you're saying, because, you know, you'll cause a ripple effect through the family. But then it's like, I've never been ashamed to say it. And when I did come out and say, it was maybe a year or so after it was started happening. Mm-hmm. And I mean, everything just completely blew up. Totally blew up. The family was in shambles, and you are made to feel like it's your fault. And you carry this weight at 9, 10 years old. And no help. There was no therapy. There was no nothing. There's like, shut up. There's so many different things. And it's not easy. And there's
probably
no help.
Difficult for everybody, right? You're like your parents too. Like, I mean, it's not like they know how to deal with a situation like that as it is. And I'm going to speak for my parents. They went to school up to like 6th grade. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so, let alone know how to deal with something like this at that big of a level. You know what I mean? I'm not sure where your parents ended up, you know, in school, and, you know, but, you know, I feel like the more you educate yourself, the better prepared you're going to be for life. That's probably, you know.
Yeah. You're in this new country. I mean, I can't venture to guess, because even broaching those conversations now, they're very volatile, because I know they have to have some level of guilt associated with it. Yeah. So I won't try to speculate like why they did what they did, or why they didn't do what they should have, you know.
Yeah.
Because we think different, right? We have the, like you said, the power of knowledge, education. We're like, when we were little, they started teaching about 911, and you know, our parents used to hit us, and they're like, you know, if anybody ever hurts you, press 911, and then, you know, you're like going home and it's like, hey, pinche 911, ándale, pinche 911.
No.
Yeah, but like we started growing up knowing that we had some sort of recourse where they didn't.
Of course. Yeah.
And I was going to say, I don't think it's lack of education. I just think it's just what they've been taught, and they've probably been through themselves.
Yeah.
And they just kind of see it as normal. It's almost like when you see or when you hear about like when parents fight, and, you know, they're in an abusive relationship, and kids grow up and that's what they see. So they think it's normal. You know, so I don't even think it's a lack of education. It's just like more so like whatever they see, especially if they heard it or if they saw it back in el rancho, back in, you know, whatever, que el primo que con la whatever, or el tío con la whatever. Yeah. It's kind of like it's common. Yeah. So it's kind of like it happens.
But to me, though, the lack of education part was more of an angle of like not knowing how to deal with it. Yeah. Not the fact that I know that what you're talking about is more of a learned behavior. Mm-hmm. That I see your point too. But to me, the reason why I brought the education part up is because something like that happens. We barely know how to deal with it. Yeah. Let alone them. You know what I mean? We have access to the internet. We have access to research some law. You know, whatever. That's where I was going at that angle. Not, you know what I mean? Yeah. To me, that's what I was saying. But yes, your learned behavior thing, I agree with that 100% as well.
Because I just think like if, from what I know, I nothing has ever like that happened to my sisters, or, you know, I only have sisters. And if it were to happen, and if they did tell my parents at the time, first of all, you already know how my family is. We're getting down, bro. And second of all, like, we're not going to that party anymore. You know, that's just how we've been
Yeah, it's not like that for everybody, unfortunately.
No, yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. And my parents don't have, also they lack in education. They didn't, finish school, whatever. At least my dad. But damn, I just put them on blast. But
what, did I put my parents on blast? I don't think my parents care that, bro. Like, I mean,
I don't think it's an offense, right?
No,
it's just,
of course not.
It's a fact.
To me, honestly, it means so much to me that my parents went to a certain grade, were able to come to this country and do what they did and raised us and got us through what we had to do. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's huge. Yeah. Huge. Some people that go to college do fucking worse. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's not a shot. It's not an offense. To me, it's like, dude, I'm so proud of my parents. You know what I mean? Like, that's
100%.
that's the level.
I totally get it. But I know what you mean. And like, sometimes when you just don't know, like, for example, I don't know, should your TV break, it's a stupid example, but like, do you have insurance? You go this route. Do you not have insurance? This is what you're supposed to do. So it's like, with it's a lived experience, but also, do you know what resources and what recourse you have in order to get something done?
Right.
And I think that's what you meant.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Sometimes they don't have something to grasp to like, okay, like, this is what we can. And I think
like
during
the understanding behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did have a question regarding that. So this happened to you, right?
Yeah.
That, I'm not sure what happened to that person, but where's that person at now? And do you feel like he's still hurting people?
Oh, I'm 100% sure, because people like that never change. He has children now. I know after I spoke out, or I alluded to it, I did have a lot of family members, and that's sad, reach out to me and say, I didn't know what happened to you. It happened to me too. From
that same person.
How disgusting is that? And then they're like, oh, and XYZ as well. And I'm like, wow. And I remember that because being little, after you're forced to grow up in a different way and you see things so different. And I remember just looking at certain people kind of funny, hanging around, like you have full grown adults hanging out with kids. And it's just like,
nobody's looking at it. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's a fun uncle. It's this and that. But sometimes it's like, okay, go over there. Like, why are you over here? And it's just completely messy. So anyways, I've never felt ashamed because once I spoke up, I wasn't believed. It was like this whole big thing. But afterwards now, because like I said, family members have reached out and said, like, I'm so glad you said something. It also happened to me. Like, it helps to know, and now we understand like why you started separating yourself more and more and more. And so you just never know. And for me, that was not something I was ever ashamed of because I did nothing wrong.
Of course.
I did nothing wrong. And I think that's the part that we need to like talk to our kids or even like our older cousins. We just never know what someone's going through. And I have like some of the happiest cousins, so silly and funny. Never know. You would never know. You never know what's happening behind. And then if one person opens up and is genuine and is really saying something, you could connect to so many people. And for like this, like I said, I've never been ashamed, and I'll tell my story once and again. And if it happens to help someone, that's all I could do because I was desperately searching and hoping for that help that never came. And I had to give that to myself because no one was going to come and rescue me. And like, that's what helped my whole life. Like, I've had to figure it out and take care of myself. And so arming our children with that knowledge, that they can take care of themselves. And like we were talking, like not forcing our kids, oh, go hug so-and-so. Don't be rude. No, they don't have to. And it's like the little things like that make a difference, I think.
Yeah. I feel like that definitely does go a long way. The way you're teaching them now to be outspoken and not just towards, we're talking about talking back and shit like that, but even when you're going to the doctor's office, dentist office, hey, you're prepping them in the car, like, hey,
anywhere,
this is a doctor. Like, tell them what you feel. Tell them what's going on. Tell them, give them a voice. And I remember going, with my parents, it wasn't the case. You
just look at them.
Yeah, you just look at, like, hey, is it okay? Like, what do I do? What do we do? You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like we're definitely changing the game in that aspect.
For the better,
I hope. I'm sure. Like when I take my kids to the doctor, I want him to speak up. I want him to talk to the doctor himself. Like, this is your doctor, dude. He's at your service. Tell him what you feel, what hurts, what, like, direct your words at him. If anything I need to jump into, I'll definitely jump in, Yeah. Like, and I feel like that's like you said, changing their mind and hey, I'm boss too.
Yeah.
Like I can speak out for myself. I don't like this. I don't want this. You know? Yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no, the same thing. I was just more so like breaking the cycle.
Yeah.
That we're used to, breaking it, and some of the stuff that we grew up with, it's nice. It's la cultura, lo que sea, pero like some of this shit, it's like, nah, man, we gotta break that cycle.
That's right. And when you're talking about being down for the culture, I associate a lot of that to that. So there's some things that I know that trauma is associated with it, so I'd rather not engage. And I've shifted the way I think and some of the things that I do and the music that I listen to, because some of those things are triggers and you don't know until something comes up. And so it's easy for me to completely disassociate from it, because that to me is very much tied to my family culture, our aspect. And so it's painful.
And some of the stuff that hurt you the most.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And as a beautiful culture as it is, and I love it, and I love my roots, and I've never been ashamed, and I'll never deny it. But there's definitely trauma associated with it, and sometimes I'd rather just not deal. And that's just how I deal with it personally.
I was going to ask you, are you seeing someone now to talk about things like that, to deal with trauma that's left over from that situation?
Little by little, it's hard. And that's another thing, like mental health in the Latino community and the stigma of, and sometimes we're like, I'm fine, I'm taking care of it. But yes, could I be better? Yes. But sometimes when, as a mom, so many other things take precedence before you take care of yourself. And that's just a fault, like a personal fault of my own. And we need to be okay to make sure that everybody's okay. But
I feel like moms, man, my wife is exactly like you. Like I feel like moms are just like that.
You want to take care of everybody else.
Mom kicks in, the mom instinct or the mom superpower kicks in, and it's like, and I'm always looking at her like, dude, but you got to be okay to be able to, like, you know.
But it's good that she feels that support from you, because sometimes a lot of women don't. They feel like they just have to go like the Energizer Bunny, go, 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 and you don't have that support to take care of yourself. I definitely do, but sometimes it's like you have to make it a priority, and it's difficult. But I definitely believe in advocating for mental health and taking care of yourself for sure, because who can deal with minor things on their own, let alone something like a heavy load like this? Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Sorry. So I think with this, we're going to wrap it up. I know we can definitely keep going. We're probably going to stop, and then we're going to probably still talk for another 2 hours.
So we talked about blood is thicker than water for like 10 minutes, bro.
Hey, but it went to something else.
I mean,
well, it all has to do with it, right? Yeah. When it's like, when is it too much? When is it like...
Talked about Thalia, R. Kelly.
A little bit of everything. So this is just a little bit of an example where you can get from Foreal.
Exactly.
So definitely go check them out. Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anchor, anywhere you can get your podcast shit.
You're not supposed to be cussing.
I know, bro. So we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you, Paula, for coming out here. Me. Oh, it's a pleasure. It's not gonna be the last time. You already know we got plans, and I'm excited for them. Compa Noy?
Hey, we really appreciate you coming out. I hope you had a good time.
I did.
I hope we made you feel comfortable.
Yes.
We definitely appreciate you opening up too. I know that's something always hard to talk about for anyone dealing with it. Hopefully it does help people that are listening.
I hope so.
But yeah, we really appreciate you coming out for sure.
If you want to, for sure. If you want to, your Instagram, put all that up there. I mean, I'll tag it as well, but if you want to also...
So I'm at Mrs. PPG on Instagram, at Foreal Pod on Instagram, and forealpod@gmail.com. My skills on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, so that's not one I go to, but I need to get on it.
So the go-to is Instagram.
Instagram. I'm always there. I love all the comments. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. I have gotten so many great comments, and the girls at Chingonas Talk About It, you guys, I just want to say I'm so appreciative. Knowing, like I told you guys earlier, I appreciate it. Just finding this little podcast fam has been so amazing, and as draining as this can be, it just kind of gives you energy, because just finding people that love to do what you do. So that's been really, really amazing. So thank you guys.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yo, what's up with the Gmail? You people email you too?
I do.
Oh,
so I get a lot of stories.
Check ours, bro.
I used to.
I check it. Bro.
I used to get like stories from listeners that used to like just wanted us to read like their experiences and their stories and read them out on air. So I used to do like listener feedback episodes at the very beginning. So like they share, and I love interacting with people, and that's a great like. So some of the stuff like this, and especially in the past podcast, people don't necessarily. Everybody wants to hear the chisme, but nobody wants their business out there. You know, they're not like me putting their foot in their mouth, but they love to have somebody to chat with, and so I love to be responsive, and so
that's for sure. That's dope.
So reach out if you want to.
Reach out if you have experiences or want to share your story with Paula.
Yeah, I'm here to listen.
For real. She'll listen, and she'll probably give you some advice too.
Yeah, and it'll stay in the vault too. Once you tell me it's not coming out, it's not coming out. I like give chisme about myself. I don't do it about other people.
What's up. Dope.
So this is Compas Unfiltered. Thank you guys for listening. Ya estamos. Doses.